Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's AJ Writes Crypto, and today we're going to do something a little bit differently. I think crypto, the entire industry itself, lacks long form podcast.
It is.
It does, and I feel like a lot of times, there's a new story, a new development, a new update for a blockchain. The video is, just about this one thing and then that's it, and you don't really get to learn the person, learn the personalities, know the people really working, on these magnificent projects. And I think today we're going to do a long form podcast with one of my close friends, the founder of VeChain, Sunny Liu. Sunny, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Actually, Miami's weather is great. Events are great. Activity is great. Yeah, everything has been great. I'm actually looking for another meeting with Dana tonight. Oh, tomorrow. Sorry.
Tomorrow. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And before we get into, the Four Ocean cleanup and everything this past week, I do just want to say that I believe my goal for this podcast is for you, the audience, to get to know Sunny like I know Sunny, because I see Sunny as a friend, somebody that I can rely on, somebody that I can, call and talk to and like on a human level. And I feel that sometimes with crypto and the expectations of crypto, people kind of lose the human element sometimes, and they just kind of, you know what I mean? And I feel I just wanted to establish, that's my goal here, is for the audience to kind of just listen to this podcast if you're at work, or if you're, listening to it in the background, or, watching it at home, is to learn, is to, kind of figure out the character of Sunny Liu. And I really want to get that across, man, because we have become friends over the past couple of years.
That's the plan, right?
Yeah.
I think, a couple of months ago, I think it was in LA. Yeah, it was in LA. We talk about the idea to, start a long form podcast. I think it's I would say something could be very interesting.
Yeah.
And also I think the long form is also means like we're gonna be authentic, we're gonna be casual, like friends talking all over the place, and share some true thoughts.
Right.
I think that's a whole meaning of to do the long form podcast.
Yeah, it's not like you're trying to hit the talking points, stick to the script, deliver the alpha. None of that. It's really
no pre-preparation.
Right.
Just be authentic.
Just a little bit, but you understand. So, we did just have a really great day 2 days ago with Four Ocean. There's this kind of a little abandoned island off the beach in Miami. We all got on a bunch of boats and we cleaned up this little island. We earned better token to do it. Dana White did join us. You were hanging out with Dana. Scott Melker was with us, the Wolf of Wall Street. Scott's a great guy. And Scott and myself both got an interview with Dana White, which is really cool. Kind of tell me about your Four Ocean experience. And let's start from the beginning. When did you meet Four Ocean, and how did that relationship develop?
Oh, that's all Dana's work.
Yeah.
Actually, firstly, Dana has been a very good friend, and also someone I really respect. It's not only about his work to turn UFC from $2 million investment to be a $20 billion giant global sports league. Actually, the guy, I really like the guy. He's very authentic, and he's a true entrepreneur. He doesn't take a crap from anyone. He just go get it. Always chasing after his dream, his mission, and things like we have been working with UFC for 3 years now. And we kind of catch up, taking any kind of opportunity when we meet, whatever in his office, in the fight. And for sure, we talk about our business, talk about what we do. And he instantly liked the idea.
Yeah.
Well, Dana is not crypto guy. And he's really like, he's being very transparent.
Yeah.
Being very authentic. He just say, Sonny, I don't know anything about crypto. Well, in his words, like, I don't know that shit.
Yeah.
Right. But
he wants to see it grow, though. He thinks it's a cool industry.
Yeah.
He's not against crypto.
No,
of course not. Of course not.
He's just like he doesn't get into that.
Right.
Like personally that much, right? But you know, the UFC has been with Crypto.com and VeChain
Yep.
3-4 years ago,
Yeah.
right? But when we talk about like the VeBetter DAO and also all of the different type of applications, you know, the Mugshot, the EVN, Cleanify, all of the different type of the small applications represent the user can do or people can do from your daily life. He gets that. He instantly gets that. He just like, oh, that's I get it. You know, I like that. Cut to the crap. Actions better than words. That type of thing. And then he's like, I gotta have introduce you to a very cool guy. It's Alex. You met also on Wednesday.
Yep. Yep.
The CEO and founder of Ocean. And then next thing I know, like we met. I think the first time I met Alex in LA as well, and then we started to talk about anything we can collaborate, and we showed about the Cleanify, you know, some other application as well. And next thing we know, like here we go.
Yeah.
We organize cleanup in Miami, and also getting Dana get the hands dirty as well on the ground and pick up the trash, take the photo, using the AI engine behind that, verify that, and earn the better token. So yeah, it's so great.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. And, you know, during my interview with Dana, I said this word for it, and I said, like, you know, it is really good to see in person someone as influential as yourself actually give a shit. I said that to him. And he really, like, you would think that, you know, when you think the those, the them, those, the billionaire class, like that, like I think people kind of put them in this category and act as if they don't care, or if they aren't people that want to see the world become a better place. And Dana has surpassed all that. And I actually kind of talked to him for a minute before the camera started rolling, and man, I wish I got that footage. But I told Dana, I was like, you know, like, you really are like the poster child for a rags to riches story. You know, he came from nothing and built an empire. And like, you know, I came from nothing. I know what that's like. And I said, you know, my question to him was, you know, beyond just, you know, the stereotypical rags to riches story, I feel like there's a valuable lesson for the people who come from nothing, who make a couple $100,000, who make $1 million, and then get to that point. And then once you're at that point, you're at a transitionary crossroad,
right,
where you could ride it right back to the bottom, or you could build an empire.
Right.
And I said, what would your advice be to someone standing at that crossroad? And he said, dude, you know how much you work every day. Are you getting up early?
Yeah.
Are you putting in the hours? Like, you know your effort.
Yeah.
You know if you're screwing off, or you know if you're constantly networking, or I'm paraphrasing, but you get my point.
Yeah.
And to think, for anyone to think that you get to that level without putting in an insane amount of hours, that it's an easy way out. Or some people even think that crypto is, you know, a lazy man's game. Oh, don't get me started.
We kind of like talk about the crypto things like for forever, like so many times. The typical phenomena in crypto is people don't have a patience. People are looking for getting like 10x, 20x, even 100x, you know, just in a week. You know, that's not right. That's not by nature.
No.
The good things are taking time, building, and taking efforts, constantly iterating, and it's a marathon.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, short dash or short runner. It's literally it's a marathon.
It is.
And you know, how are we gonna you know, like, let's say taking the time and building the real value, I think that's what the entire crypto is really missing.
Yeah.
On the other side, Dana is that kind of guy. You know, he loves what he's doing. Everything starts from the passion about MMA, about the boxing, about, you know, Tyson as role model, as Ali, those kind of legends, even the Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
I talked to Dana several times about that. You know, that's his passion, and then he worked for the passion, and eventually that's a result achieving what he can achieve today. So we both share a very interesting thought is like money is not the goal, but one of the results. Even I would call it is a side products.
Right.
It's not the ultimate goal. Like, you know, we gotta get to the money.
Yeah.
Right. Dana shared with me the story, like, you know, the UFC was acquired by Endeavor like a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So during this kind of acquisition, they got money. Especially Dana, they got like, you know, huge amount of money.
Deep pockets.
Yeah, deep pockets.
Yes.
But after the let's say the acquisition, he's still working like crazy. He still show up like every morning, like AM or 9 a.m., 10 a.m. until like 8 p.m., 10 p.m. Even for Wednesday, he arrived in Miami 3:30 a.m. of the day and showed up like 10 a.m., with us and do 4 hours.
Wow.
4 hours. I got we got also a couple of the partners from Boston Consulting Group, the Dr. Guy Gilliland and Christy coming over as well. They were like, "Hey, Sonny, we thought Dana maybe just here, take a pose, with a bag or the giant chopsticks, pick up the trash and take some footage or take some photo, and that's it." But they were surprised. Literally, we spent more than 1 hour to pick up the trash.
Yeah. So when you guys first came on, you, Alex, and Dana were kind of doing that first main strip of the beach, and I got like a bunch of videos and pictures of you doing that, and then you guys kind of went in the back to the woods.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, like I'm gonna let them do that. They can have like their time. I don't want to like follow. And I was preparing for my interview with Dana as well, and I thought you guys would be like 10 minutes.
No,
you guys were
1 hour.
You guys were back, and you guys came back with full bags.
20 pounds, man. At least the 20 pounds for each bag.
That's a lot.
And honestly, also during that kind of session, we're not only just picking up the trash, but also we're talking. All of us, all three of us, Alex, Dana, myself. I got a little bit sentiment during that kind of the process. When you take the boat to reach to the island, from far away side, you feel like, oh, that's a beautiful island, right? It's really beautiful, and you can see the white beach and clean water. But when you go a little bit further inside, then you can see like so many trash, man. So many trash, so many plastics.
Yeah.
Everything, even the diapers.
A lot of beer cans.
No idea.
Yeah, a lot of.
And you feel like, wow, what we have done as a human being, it kind of destroy our environment. And all of the plastics, even the small pieces of plastics, like everywhere. And eventually, I feel like, firstly, I feel good because we're doing a good thing with Dana, with Alex, with you guys. Yeah. I feel good. I feel proud. But on the other side, I feel pretty sad about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like what we have done as a human, that's not right.
It's funny you say that. Joe Rogan has this famous quote that he believes that humans are the mold on the sandwich. That he was kind of on an airplane and he was kind of flying over like the ocean, and he looks down and it's like all clean. And then he was like kind of flying over like the desert, and then there's nothing there. But then, the airplane or the helicopter, kind of gets to a city, and there's stuff everywhere, and there's trash and it stinks. Like humans are the mold on the sandwich. It's such a great analogy. And I'll never forget kind of absorbing that thought when I heard it for the first time. And I have always been, my stepmom has always been on me about recycling. She will bend over backwards to pick one can out of the trash to put it in the recycle. And that has kind of been embedded into my DNA as a kid, so then as the year goes on,
that's good.
Of course. And then as our relationship developed and I got to learn about VeBetter DAO, I thought to myself, this is what crypto should be about. This is it. Like, what other crypto company is incentivizing everyone to do the right thing?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I think You know, even I talked to Dana about the sustainability concept, right? And well, firstly, no one say no about sustainability. They might challenge the way of doing sustainability, right? Well, Trump say that, Joe Rogan discussed that with Elon Musk about that. You know, talk about the previous some of the times the ESG got weaponized and greenwash, which is true, but no one actually against sustainability itself, including Dana, Joe Rogan, Trump, Elon Musk as well. All of the, you know, they're smart. They know that's the right thing to do.
Yep.
And eventually, even for the full ocean event on Wednesday, I feel like, you know, we're not only just saving the small island, not just the saving the world, we're saving ourselves. You know, I read about the news a couple of years ago. Like even you can find the microplastic in the human parts, in human
Yeah,
bodies.
you don't you eat about a credit card's worth of plastic every 2 weeks or every week or
Yeah,
something like that?
It's
Crazy.
crazy, right?
Crazy.
So we're not just saving the world, but we're actually literally saving ourselves. No, well, people like to eat fish, and fish kind of in the ocean, they will digest some plastic and eventually transmit to your own body. That's crazy,
Yeah.
right? So I would say, you know, that's, let's say, but on the other hand, try to, let's say, you know, what we have done or as a human before, like education, like you share your childhood story, you get, you know, your stepmom tell you what to do to be recycled, which is good,
Yeah.
right? But on the other side, you know, how we can get more people to understand or to get that kind of let's say message, like, or feel the sense of urgency, everybody should do that. And I think education is not enough.
You have to
cannot
set an
just,
example.
yeah, you got to set examples, you got to incentivize people, you got to eventually make that kind of thing becomes your behavior and incentivize people to do the right thing. It's kind of there was a psychological series called positive behavior change or something. Like every time you do a right thing, then you get incentivized. Then
Like
you will
Pavlov?
something
Pavlov
like
technique?
that.
Okay.
Yeah. So like you gotta get the positive cycle. You're getting because every time you do a right, and then you get incentivized.
Positive feedback loop.
Yeah, positive feedback
Yep.
cycle loop, right? And then you're getting stronger and stronger. I feel the same. You know, when I start to use a Mugshot to, you know, take my own mug, yeah, you do need to sacrifice your convenience a bit. But every time you get rewards, it's not only about how many tokens you received, right? How many better tokens you received, it's good. But also it's like I know I'm saving the trees. I'm cutting the usage of the paper cups. I'm saving the trees.
Yeah.
Even some of my friends in Milan, I get them to use a matcha. They, you know, next time I know, like we're kind of toasted with a coffee. Well, you know, the coffee is a big culture in Italy. They're like, "Hey, Sonny, saving the trees. Let's saving the trees." That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that part of way or method, it would really driving people to have the right behaviors, not just, you know, getting like you gotta educate it. Well, one thing I want to share with you,
Sure.
um, even since my childhood, we also got that kind of education, like don't use plastics, you know, make the pollution, or plastic taking hundreds of years to degrade it, right? But when you look at when I started the VeBetter DAO, and I did some research work with BCG together, you know, even for 2024 or 2023, 1 year, humankind, like the whole world, produced 450 million tons of plastic. 450 million tons, man. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong.
It makes me mad.
Don't get me wrong. Plastic is a good invention, right? It's cheaper. It can be flexible. It's a good material, but don't overuse that. If you overuse that, well, there is another statistics to show 75 plastic waste eventually all goes to ocean. 75 and
75% of
plastic waste
all goes to the ocean.
all goes to ocean.
Oh man.
And even by record, I'm sure the number is much bigger, the real number much bigger, but by record, like human can record that 100,000 marine animals got killed because of 75 plastic waste going into the ocean.
Wow.
So that's exactly the point, but nobody gets that, right? Even maybe you get, let's say somebody can really spend the time, or you go to the university, you go to online course, you get that kind of tips, but it's not enough. But one thing I learned from the 4Ocean is when I spend a 1 hour with Alex, with you guys, with Dana, pick up the trash, I keep telling myself like, okay, if next time I go to the beach, I be the tourist, or even I enjoy the party with my friends over the beach, I cannot let this happen.
No.
I gonna, not only for myself, I gonna tell, all of my friends or my families, if they travel with me, you cannot throw the trash, you cannot leave the trash, you cannot wreck the place.
Yeah.
Right. So we even made jokes with Dana, like, okay, because somebody, someone also in the activity saying like they got a friends also coming over to the picnic island, the same place we're doing the trash, like later the evening. So I said, okay, you gotta tell your friends, this place just cleaned by the badass like Dana White. So if your friends gonna trash it, make sure
Yeah.
we're gonna hunt you down.
Right. We're gonna find you.
Yeah.
If you don't, you don't clean up, you get slapped.
Yeah, you're right.
You
You're
get
right.
slapped.
Like my shirt, right?
I like
Yeah,
that.
power slapped.
So, tell me about, and obviously everybody do the right thing. And if you want to be incentivized to do the right thing, learn about VeBetter DAO. Click the links down below, do your homework, learn about Mugshot, learn about Cleanify, learn about EV Earn.
Yeah.
You can earn crypto for going on a walk. You can earn crypto for charging an electric vehicle, or your grocery receipts, or the oils you use. There's so many. And VeBetter DAO is only going to grow from here.
Yeah.
It's funny, actually, I was going to go one way. I'm going to go a different way. I have a friend. I really liked this idea because I remember you said how much you wanted to expand VeBetter DAO during 2025 on the Twitter space we did at the end of the year. So I think you met her. You know Crypto Wendy O?
Oh, yeah, Wendy.
Yeah,
Wendy's a great lady.
Wendy's awesome.
I like her.
Wendy's awesome. So she is the largest female crypto influencer in the world. And we were on the phone last week, and she said that she has an idea for VeBetter DAO.
Oh, cool.
And she said that what if we found a way to incentivize people to go thrift shopping, or even for when you buy clothes at a thrift shop, or when you give your clothes to a thrift shop, to prevent wasting clothing material. And I was like, that's a pretty good idea. We should have a conversation about that one.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the VeBetter DAO, the idea is what we call it X to earn applications, right? And X represents anything good to the whole world. Good to, not only, let's say, to the environment, to the pets, or to the vegetables, to the green plants, also even to yourself. Human capital, we call it the human capital, is one of the important let's say frameworks in the broader concept of sustainability. So all of the different type of scenarios or use cases, cut the waste, don't overspending, overutilize, because eventually it's about it's let's say how we gonna last longer. I always made the jokes about that. Even I share with Dana. I don't know if he told Elon yet or not. Elon Musk's idea is why he wants to travel to Mars. Why he wants to bring the people to Mars, right? It's for multiplanetary. It's
mandatory.
It's let's say, I agree with that. Like a human or humankind as like, the species with intellectual in the whole universe so far, it's very rare. Like so rare. Like we're literally like we're very, very lucky.
Especially how far the sun is from the moon.
Oh yeah.
And
it's like it's like engineered,
Well, yeah,
right? It
because
feels like that.
Jupiter catches a lot of the meteors
Oh yeah,
that would hit Earth,
yeah, like our
and
guardians,
yeah,
right?
it literally, the fact that we are here, it's so perfect.
Yeah,
It's hard to think it's not a
yeah.
simulation.
But also think about how dinosaur goes to extinct. That means, we're fragile. So we gotta be how we can be more sustainable. We want to go for we want to let's say prepare more options for us. And Mars is the most the closest one, most let's say low hanging fruits, but not that easy.
Pragmatic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pragmatic
yeah,
or practical.
yeah.
So that's why he's doing like that, right? So basically, he's trying to extend um, the human longevity, not as one individual person per se, but like entire human species.
Yep.
So I'm making the fun. Well, I think we're doing the right thing. Is like, okay, we try to um, do in a different way. Is we want to buy more time for Elon Musk, right? Because anyway, we still got to take maybe decades, or it could be even a few hundred years to be building livable infrastructure or environment in Mars or any other planets. Um, Elon Musk said, you know, the first milestone to so call it successful, it's self-sufficient environment in Mars. That means at least moving like 1 million people over there, right? And how we gonna achieve that? Meanwhile, we gotta still stay in the Earth. Don't wreck up our own home environment
Right.
before we can move to Mars.
We need to make
Right.
sure we can make Earth last as long as possible.
Exactly.
Right.
So I think what we're doing is like to getting people really curious about what we're living and do good, make a better choice. Even you might need to sacrifice a little bit of convenience, but I think everybody can do that. It should be accessible to anybody. Get incentivized, get motivated to getting better. We're literally, having the joint efforts from everyone, buy more time for Elon Musk's great mission.
Yep.
That's what I saw.
I'm
Right.
completely with you there. It only takes 3 weeks to break or make a new habit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's it's
There
actually
is a 21 days rules, right?
20
If you can do like one thing for 21 days in a row, then it becomes your own habit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you incent, but I feel like a lot of the times, especially with VeBetter, it's things that some people are already doing every day.
Mhm. Yeah.
And there's probably millions of people out there that are already doing these things that don't know that they could get rewarded for them.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's an outreach. It's
Well,
really about outreach.
You make a very, very good point about the VBET. Oh, it's not only about you or about any individual per se. It's also about you're doing that and you're able to share with everyone. And also you're able to encourage more people to join you, right? Showing like what I have done in the last week, how many actions I do, and what I'm going to make my. I think there is an application called Stepper. They even challenge you. The application kind of give you a new challenge, right? You made a 10,000 steps last week. What about next week?
Right.
12,000, 13,000. You can do better, right? So that type of thing is, I think it's more than just for individuals, but also spreading the words, replicate what you do, getting more people to be on board. That's the whole idea.
Yep.
So so far, I've been very happy about, let's say, the progress of the VeBetter DAO. Even we still have loads of the places to improve, 100%, right? Lots of the challenges in terms of governance, in terms of the tools, the infrastructure, lots of places to improve for sure. We got to keep iterating that. But so far, we launched to the mainnet at the end of June last year. So starting from July until March is like what, 8 months, right? 8 to 9 months. And we reached 1 million users.
Wow.
And, I keep during my conversations or meetings with lots of the different people, I know the 1 million user to Web2 is nothing.
Right.
If you think about WhatsApp or Facebook,
video games,
it's like easily 100 million users, 200 million users.
Yep.
But in the Web3, 1 million users, I think it's something we should really be proud of that. And we're not going to stop there for sure.
Yeah.
Because eventually we talk about that. I believe the end game of the crypto should be mass adoptions.
Yeah.
I should get normal people, everyone, even like my mom, are able to use that. And, we got to continue to grow, continue to iterate. And, well, my ultimate goal is to get the VeBetter DAO can support a 1 billion user. Yeah. It's supposed to be everyone's mission.
And, what I thought was really cool, in order to do this, the barrier to jump over has to get smaller and smaller and smaller. People, seed phrases got to go. Like that's, and it's funny because I met the founder of Cleanify at the 4Ocean cleanup. I can't remember. Eric, that's right. His name's Eric. Shout out to Eric. Great guy, by the way. And he had, you could take a picture of each piece of trash and you'd earn 1 better token. And to get into that, you didn't need a seed phrase. You just signed in through Google. Oh, yeah. And he's like, yeah, like we don't need to do that. And I'm like, yes. Yeah, that's what it's going to take. It's going to, because people, I think for crypto or, blockchain, an undertone blockchain technology, the best thing is for most people to not even know they're using it.
Well, yeah, like internet. Yep. Right. I always using the example, everybody using email, using WhatsApp, using Instagram on daily basis. Yep. But you don't need to understand what is a TCP/IP or what is a SMTP, those kind of protocol behind. And that's, I think it's a fundamental factors of why internet becomes so everywhere, really change people's life. Yep. Right. So I think crypto is going to do the same. And that's why, again, I think the driving to mass adoption, creating the real utility applications, are the, let's say, I even want to call it that's kind of sense of urgency to the entire crypto world. Builders need to build that type of applications, not just speculative trading. Sure. Right. Sure. So, well, actually, we have like the Topline Strategy. 2025 is going to be crazy for us. Lots of things ongoing. Right. The top line, like we just discussed, VeBetter DAO is the, let's say, sits a position to create or enable utilities, use cases, right? That's for sure. That's like a front line. Keep the growth, the application grows, user grows, value grows. That's the vehicle. That's the ecosystem for the front line. And bottom line is the VeChain Renaissance. We can talk about that a little bit later. Sure. And also we have a secret mission. The middle line is we wanted to make V-Word our wallet, no more than just a wallet. I don't even want to call it a wallet anymore.
It's a portal.
It's a portal. It's application. Let's call it the super app. Right. And able to drive in the user or onboard the user, forget about the crypto. Forget about the token even. You just use the application and you're using the tokens, the crypto, the blockchain technology, even without knowing that. And I think that's kind of like end game for driving the mass adoptions. You got to have this.
You have to.
So we got to start from, well, we're already starting that, like you said, some of the application like Cleanify or Mugshot, Earn, they have social login already, right? You can use Twitter account, Google account. The best part is EVN. You can use your Tesla account, log in directly.
Yeah, exactly.
I really want to shout out for the respect, what the Tesla January, as how to collaborate. They really open sourced. They really like open for API calling, API utilization. I think that's really smart move. Because you're gonna get more builders to build the different tools and applications. It will take the benefits to the Tesla owners. Right. So yeah, basically now the different type of application already have the social login. including the Tesla accounts, right? Well, how we can go further? The further is why don't we make the social login for VWord or for whatever it called in the future as a super application, right? Sure, there will be regulatory challenge. That means we might get the license for custodian, we might get the license for service digital asset service providers, but honestly, I don't think it's that hard, and it's something we should do. Anyway, just last month or 2 months ago, VAT and VSOR get the MiCA compliance.
Yes,
And
that's big.
Well, yeah, it is big. And why don't we continue, right? And we already know the drill, and it's just by the different type of scope of the services and scope of the technologies, and we go for that.
Yeah.
So, but by doing this, you kind of really give the non-crypto user, normal user, able to use those kind of applications, become the real value coming from those applications. I think that's a really fundamental theme for the future crypto world.
Yeah.
And also, the other one is, how do we use those tokens? What is the utility of the tokens?
Mm-hmm.
Right? By design, VeBetter DAO already have specific design of the token already. Like you can use better converting to be the vote, and the vote for governance, vote for proposals, vote for weekly allocations. So it's already like that. And so far, better token, matching with the vote, already 60%, more than 60% of token are locking for governance participation every week, right? So I think it's most active DAO in the world so far. Well, I don't know the others, but every week we get 10,000, 20,000 people participating in the governance.
And that's only going to get bigger as time goes.
Yeah, it's just getting bigger and bigger, by time goes. And that's the first utility. Then what is more? And well, a couple of days ago, I think it was just yesterday, we launched the Better card.
That's what I was about to segue
Right?
into that, because we before we came over to film this podcast, we had nice little coffee, some lattes, some croissants, and I was like, Sonny, let me pay. He says, no,
I'm testing.
I'm testing right now. I said, okay, Sonny, I'll let you pay, no problem, bro. And and sure enough,
well,
just like that.
That's actually important.
Yeah.
It's not just like, people will say lots of payment solution already in the crypto market. You have, Crypto.com card, you
Coinbase,
have Bybit card, Coinbase card. Yeah, you have multiple different cards, right? But I think more importantly is the payment solution, or what is a Web3 payment solution, or what is a special about Web3 payment solutions? In Web2, we already got PayPal, we got WeChat Pay, Alipay. We got a multiple Web2 solutions already. It's pretty convenient, to be honest.
Yeah.
And why people need a Web3?
Are you asking me to? Because I'll answer. I got a good answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think a big problem with crypto is offboarding. Because I feel like a lot of people like to throw money at letters and they never know how to click the sell button. Like I know a lot of people that have just round tripped their crypto. And I feel that if we stop thinking in terms of the dollar and start thinking in terms of crypto, like I don't care what one Ethereum is worth in United States dollar. One Ethereum is one Ethereum. Just like,
one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin.
Exactly. And I think changing that, I when I was in high school, I had a Spanish teacher named Mrs. Robinson. Shout out to Mrs. Robinson. And I struggled in Spanish big time. And I said, Miss Robinson, I can't figure this out. I would always say, what does this word mean in English? What does this word mean in English? And she would shake me by the shoulder and say, AJ, stop thinking about it in English. Think
Right.
about it in Spanish.
Same thing. Same thing.
Same thing.
When I learn English, it's the same thing.
You know?
I have to stop thinking about the Chinese, Mandarins, the meanings, but go by flow, by
Right.
natural. Right?
Exactly. And see, and I think that's a really important part with crypto is to stop thinking about it in dollars and start existing in crypto in the most ways that you can. If you never have to offboard and can exist fully in crypto, good. That's what I try to do to the best of my ability.
Right.
I least amount of money as possible in my bank account.
I give that. I think it's one of the good reasons. But my view in terms of the Web3 payment solution is a little bit different. I'm a product guy. I like to find the unique features or specialities for any kind of technology solutions, right? So to me, Web3 solution comparing Web2 or what we can learn from the Web2 is actually about scenarios, is actually about use cases. Let's say I've been through the internet battles like 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, especially in the China market. There's a huge battling or competition between Alipay and WeChat Pay, right? And eventually, how people choose? Well, eventually, I would say it's a happy story at the end. Like, um, you know, uh, most of the users have both. I use Alipay, I use WeChat Pay. But the battling at the time is actually Alipay is based on the Alibaba's the e-commerce platform, like Amazon, right?
Okay.
And then people goes to Alibaba to buy stuff, and then you use Alipay right away. Lots of the convenience, lots of the smooth user journey can kind of improve the adoption about Alipay. While WeChat Pay even go further, it's because it's social apps. You talk to your friends, even connect with your colleagues, collaborating with your partners. You do everything over the WeChat. And then they start to give you more functionalities, like you can pay your insurance bill, you can pay your utility bill, you can even buy a car over there. Even you go through like some kind of, if you want to renew your drive license, you can go through the mini apps as well. Then it's like basically you don't need to, you can basically live in WeChat, right? So that give lots of scenarios or use cases requiring payment, and then instantly just one more button to go, and then you finish the payment. So what we can learn from this type of the evolving in the Web2, I would say it's about a use case. How do you choose based on the different payment solutions? You're a crypto guy, right? You have loads of the different type of the cryptos. And in terms of payment solution, well, either caring about the fee structures, someone is expensive, someone is cheaper, right? That's one consideration. The other one is how many token portfolio they supported, like whatever crypto.com or
With the limit.
Bybit. Yeah, they have loads of limits as well, right? So that's kind of like a user experiences or user or product features you care about that. And then you choose what you like.
And then the speed.
And the
That's
speed,
the
and
big
also
one.
the security,
Yeah.
the trust you want to put as well. But I think going further on top of those features of the or functionality of the products you care as a user you care, the other thing we can build is use cases. Because you kind of know like, okay, those are places I would do that. I kind of put myself into those ecosystem, and then I kind of stay there, right? So what we really want to build, especially about a VeBetter DAO, is imagine the user journey. You go to the coffee shop, you pay for your coffee, and then you earn the better token back. And then next thing, you go to, let's say, Whole Foods, you pay for your your salad, everything, and then you earn the better back again, right? And then next thing you go to the Tesla supercharge, you pay for a charge, and then boom, oh, I get a $20 back, $10
And while
back.
you're charging, you go on a walk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that means like people kind of staying there, right? I go one application to another, I go one thing to another, and then we could attract lots of the builders, more and more builders come to build the different type of applications, you know, to let's say grow the ecosystem, and people don't need to go anywhere else. You just stay here. And everything is in a big cycle. So I was having a debate with BCG the other
Okay.
day. They were saying, hey, that's a loyalty points. That's a loyalty points system or loyalty points program, like your airline mileage, miles, or like your Starbucks loyalty points, right?
Mm.
I said, no, it is, well, some in some sense, yes, but also it's a loyalty points program without boundaries. You're not earning, because most of the loyalty points, you're kind of earning the points in that parameter of that company, or even it's a group,
Mm-hmm.
then you kind of spending back to that framework or to the premise,
Right.
right? But the VeBetter DAO is okay, as long as you do good things to make the world a better place, then you will really earn the rewards, which you can spend in the broader scope and even drive more people, more enterprise, more brands go this way.
Right.
That's a I always say it's a ultimate path to let's say really address sustainability rollouts. You know, when we talk about this, people are challenged why people call ESG or you know those kind of narrative like weaponize or greenwash, because people feel not get involved. Like, what do I do?
Right.
Right. And second, people, most of the time, people pay extra to be sustainable. Right.
Oh yeah.
And you
That's
know,
crazy.
think about like why people challenge like, oh, why EVs more expensive than the normal cars? Or why I buy some recycle organic products, I have to pay more? That's not right. You know, people should be, the only way like really driving people should get rewarded as a user to use or to be part of the sustainability rollouts in the world.
Yeah.
So that's something we want to really change it. And we're getting more and more, you know, that kind of the builders coming up. Actually, there is a new project joining the VeBetter DAO. It's called Nubila. They're actually creating the IoT device to collect the crime data. And think about how much value of the crime data. And they can use a decentralized way to allocate or to collect the data, the crime data, like the temperature, the wind, the, you know, the like a humid, those type of
Mm-hmm.
normal natural data, um, you know, from the decentralized device everywhere in the world.
Like an oracle? Sort
Yeah.
of? Okay.
It's well, it's a monetization model, data monetization platform. I give you a very practical case.
Okay.
Actually, let's say even the Wall Street, there were some let's say commodity traders in the Wall Street, right? They care about the production of, for example, coffee beans, and the coffee beans production very closely linked to the crime situation. So the crime data could decide or predict what's going to be the next quarter's coffee bean productions. So how much value for that kind of crime data?
Wow.
Right. And instead of going to some like agencies or in the traditional way, you got to go with agencies or service providers or buying some of the data. And you can easily to starting the campaign saying, okay, next quarter, we want the data from coffee bean fields in Brazil. Next quarter. Then we put extra rewards in terms of the token if anybody submit the data to my platform.
Mm.
And then if you are the user, what you're going to do? You got to figure out, oh, okay, maybe I send this device to my cousin in Brazil, right? Try to
Find a
earn
way to
more money.
collect the
Right. Or at least in that region, people could choose like, okay, seems like a good investment, right? Maybe take like 4 to 6 months. I can get my initial investment back and keep running that type of data.
Yeah.
So
wow, it's interesting.
That I'm just showing that's an example, right? I'm talking to them like when they start to put in the sales, and they will accept the BETTER token, they will accept the VET token, VSO token, whatever, and joining like going really close with the VeChain ecosystem and a VFAM. So VFAM could be part of the players on that, right? So what I'm saying is like,
what is this project called?
A new Bila. You can find it in the VeBetter DAO. I think they just got listed in
it's already listed. It's already listed
in the VeBetter DAO.
Oh, yes. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think they're doing. I didn't check with them like for a while, but yeah, we can check later.
Cool.
That's a very interesting example, right? Actually, our Johnny Garcia.
Yes, Johnny's awesome.
Johnny getting like super excited about that. Even say, oh, give me a contest. I can find some buyers of those data. There were lots of the Wall Street traders are really interested about that. I mean, just using the coffee bean as one example.
Yeah.
What about
data is gold?
Yeah. What about soybeans? What about the weeds? What about the rices? All of that stuff.
Anything,
right?
everything.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to even like the whole original supply chain roots.
Well, that's exactly how to bring the enterprise and eventually with the individual users. I think that's how do I say, that's a fundamental differences Web3 really bring even to the business world. Think about that. In what Web2 is about the internet, right? Internet is a tool or technology to improve the productivity, especially in terms of collaboration or global collaboration, eliminate the barriers of the time and space, and people are able to, collaborate more, can create more productivity. That's the internet, right? And then Web3, what is Web3? Web3 is actually pushing the user, or let's say driving the user to be the real owner of my own creations. And data is just one format. It's really about my own creations, right? If you can think about like, the YouTube or TikTok or the current X.com is a little bit like that. So if you are the real content creators, you get a piece of check from,
just
Twitter.
A little bit.
A little bit.
It's nice though.
Yeah, it's nice, but that also there is a limitation because that's Web 2.
Right.
That's a Web 2. Web 2, those platforms, they kind of control that, right? They decide how much you should get. It's like a middleman, exactly like a middleman. Yep. And what Web 3 is about is getting rid of the middleman, right? When you're getting rid of the middleman, you kind of, maximize the value of your own creations. You don't need to rely on somebody else to, let's say, to maximize, let's say, to monetize your creations, to valueize your creations.
Exactly.
Right. So the Web3, I think that's a way like the future Web3 world or by Web3 technology, the format of collaboration, especially between enterprise and individuals, will be different. Right now, if you are the individuals, either you kind of like, okay, I can acting as a independent consultant or independent service provider, and I sign in a contract with enterprises. So we're able to work together for something.
Okay.
That's a current word, right? What maybe in the future it could be even more efficient way, like so-called a contract will be defined by a smart contract, and I don't need to know who you are or where you are. I only care about what kind of the effort you can go. Results. Or what kind of the results you can deliver.
Yep.
Especially for those small fractional effort, like no one would, no enterprise would assign a contra with any individual saying like every time you reduce the paper cup usage, I'm gonna reward you something. There is a cashback program, but it's still within like the customer base, that kind of thing, right? And in the Web3 is I don't care where you go, as long as you don't use the paper cup, you should get rewards.
Yeah.
Is more, let's say, more massive outreach to anybody, right? And actually, we're working on the same goal. We're working towards the same mission. It's we all try to save some trees, and the enterprise do their job, and the individual do their job, do their efforts. That's the future of the Web3.
Yeah.
It entirely changed the relationship between the individuals and also enterprise or associations or any entities.
Yeah, I kind of think it kind of ties into, kind of basic human psychology, the line of thinking where people say, oh, I'm not going to vote in this election because my vote doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I do. That line of thinking got to go.
No.
That line of thinking got to go because it does matter.
It does
Every vote matters. Every action matters. Every piece of trash you throw on the ground matters. It matters. Everything matters. And I really want to drive that home to the folks at home because, like, if you feel like you can't make a difference, trust me, you can.
You can.
You can.
You can. It's the collective value, the accumulative impact. It's amazing.
Yep, it really is.
And especially like when you try to work hard or like lose some weight, you cannot just do like for one day or 1 week. No, you got to build your body in a consecutive way, right? With all of the disciplines, the healthy food plans and everything. And 1 year later, you come back, you will be amazed to see like how much difference you can make.
In today's world of, TikTok, fast lights, flashing sirens, the world of instant gratification, delayed gratification is a tough thing to nail into people's brains these days. Working out, building muscle, that takes time. You can't just get on an app and do that in 30 seconds. And I think that people's brains are kind of being wired, being conditioned against things that take time. And I think really trying to take that baseline education is important, especially for young people.
Oh yeah.
Even like a lot of demographics for, I feel like a lot of the young people are very distracted, and finding a way to tap into them is, I think that's my biggest goal.
Yeah. That's quite a common, like everywhere.
Yep.
But I would say eventually, human always evolving.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
I recently I learned something. Like don't worry, especially about the governance. Go a little bit back about the governance in VeBetter DAO.
Okay.
The typical challenge to a DAO is most of the people are not able to. Let's say nobody can be the expert on every aspect, right? You might be good at math, you might be good at investment, you might be good at the technology, technical deliveries, but you cannot be expert on everything.
Right.
But the typical DAO, or typical, even we call it democracy situation, is you got to vote to decide everything. So how are we going to address that? For example, like everybody based on the tokens you have and a vote to like how much money we should spend for a marketing campaign or for, payment cards or for, exchange listing, something like that. Right. But very few people know how much exactly need to be the cost to supporting those type of activities and how they can decide.
Right.
They might think about like, well, you see the comments all the time. Say, yeah, getting exchange listing is free. You don't need to cost anything. So why we need that kind of money for for the tokens for the listing, right?
A common thing in crypto is people making fully formed opinions with a fraction of the information.
Oh yeah,
that's a big issue.
Yeah, but actually, but honestly, they're not bad or they're not bad people. They just don't know.
They just
They
don't.
just don't know,
They're misinformed.
right?
Yes.
And also, like I was explaining to some of the community members, okay, if you get a token list in the exchange, do you need a liquidity? You got to have a market makers, right? And do you need like promotions? You got to driving people to know, oh, the token has been listed there. You can tweet about that. And you know, all of the even the we might need a legal opinions. We might need a, you know, the for example, now it's so much easier for us. We can just show the MiCA compliances, and also there will be auditing jobs to check about your authenticity or your legitimacy of your projects. And also you gotta work together with the integration cost. So it's not free. Let's put it this way. There are some costs to do, right? So, but how people can make a decision, like as a whole, you gotta have you. Let's say you gotta have. Well, right now in most of the DAOs, every DAO goes through the proposal, right? Okay, you initialize a proposal, you try to explain as much as you can, and the people make a vote to decide which is, you know, whether to go or not.
Yes.
Right. So the biggest challenge is how people can decide about that, and you know, especially like in the crypto world, most of the DAO, unfortunately, eventually becomes how do I say, capital game. When you're holding large amount of tokens, then you made a fundamental decisions.
That's what I was going to say, because, you know, it's really interesting. Go to coincarp.com. It's one of the only crypto platforms that shows this when you click on the rich list. So, you know, like, you know, I haven't checked in a while, but like 75 or 78% of Matic or Polygon is owned by the top 10 holders. And then you kind of, and that across the board, a lot of altcoins, some are better than others. I don't remember each rich list for each coin, but it does kind of opens that problem, that opens up that can of worms where you're like, well, yeah, governance is great, but it feels like 10 people are making all the decisions. How do you fight against that?
Actually, we have a few ideas. One thing is try to leverage with AI.
Okay.
I know it's a little bit wild thinking so far, but it's part of our AI strategy. You know, that's another interesting topic. I hopefully you don't mind, like we're jumping up around the topics.
We got plenty of time. It's all good.
I mean, let's say I've been talking to my friends from venture capital networks, you know, especially about AI has been so hot topic lately, right? But the new trend in the AI world is no more AI infrastructure. Sounds familiar? Like in the crypto world, it's the same, right?
Yeah.
No more crypto infrastructure or too much infrastructure. Where's applications? So actually, most of the funds or venture capitals in AI world, they're looking for AI applications. Like what value or what application or utility AI as whatever is a tool or is a productivity can really help, you know, creating the value. Whatever is, you know, be more efficient or saving the cost, something like that, right?
Sure.
So basically, we're following the same trend, and we define 3 steps. The first step, the easy one, and also low-hanging fruits, is AI tooling. So basically, using AI to improve the productivity. And Antonio, our CTO, just, you know, shared with me actually last year already. By using AI, we can increase 40% of the productivity.
Wow.
40%.
That's serious.
It's not only about saving the cost per se, but also, you know, we can deliver more in the same time period, right? So that's actually, you know, remember you asked me like why we plan the VeChain Renaissance happening like 2 phase in 1 year.
Right.
That's it. Because we can deliver by, you know, leveraging that kind of tooling. So
let's start at the beginning for the audience, for people in the audience that don't understand VeChain Renaissance. If you just want to
that's a long topic. Let's get there later.
Okay, that's really fine. I didn't know if you had like a way to crunch it, a quick explanation. To put it brief.
There could be one line to introduce VeChain Renaissance.
Yeah, if you could explain it in 2 sentences.
Yeah, well, firstly, VeChain Renaissance is a latest or most important upgrades in terms of technology, VeChain technology, and also the tokenomics upgrade since the beginning, like the most critical upgrades ever.
Right.
And secondly, VeChain Renaissance is aiming for real decentralization. For simply to say, even you are not technical people, you can directly participate in the decentralization of the protocol.
Right.
VeChain protocol.
Gotcha.
So we get there
that's
later.
That's a good way to put it, especially competitive staking, things like that. I mean, that's where people care about that stuff, especially I feel like in crypto, I'm not saying it's a problem in crypto. It's sometimes an advantage is that people tend to be very tribal. This is something I'd like to break in crypto across the board, but it does work in the advantage sometimes when you have the people that will never sell no matter what ever. And of course every project needs that, and I know you're not allowed to talk about price or anything, and I respect that. I'm just saying that like for in the case of, well, when people are going to hold and they might as well stake, they might as well get extremely competitive rates. And that's what I feel the Renaissance has done a good job with that. So congratulations. Yeah.
Well, we're just getting started.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the AR strategy.
Sorry.
The second step is actually, we call it AI. The first step is AI tooling, right? Helping for the productivity. The second step is we call AI engine. And it's using the, let's say, iterating AI products out there in the market, whatever OpenAI, Gemini from Google, Grok, XAI, or Grok from XAI, use a different type of AI products to enable the AI engine to, let's say, make more X2 application possible or sophisticated enough. Even fighting against the farmers, the AI will make lots of productivity and efficiency for those type of things. So make more X2 earn or make more daily scenarios or use cases could be live as application in VeBetter DAO. So that's the second step. Gotcha. But the ultimate game for I'm actually picturing or designing these days is we want to make AI agent for the entire VeChain ecosystem. And they're gonna.
I was about to say we got BMO right here.
Yeah, we're gonna leverage with BMO. So imagine BMO is your personal assistant, is your friend when you whatever you want to do in the VeChain ecosystem, right? You can check with BMO like what I have done last week, how much better token I earned from how many actions, or even ask BMO like how much I spent it, in the last week as well, and what's my plan for next week, how many coffees I should do, with don't even ask BMO to remind me every morning, don't forget your recycle mug, something like that.
Sure.
Right. And also more like in VeChain Renaissance, you could have a different type of staking options for user. Like I said, VeChain Renaissance is really for even for non-crypto people can participate in decentralization directly. Right. So you can simply to ask a BMO saying, okay, I have 3 million VAT. What should I do? What kind of the APY, what kind of the rewards I might get it if I play with the different roles, right? I can, mint a new delegator NFT, participating or supporting which validator, and which validator performs well in terms of availability, in terms of rewards, APY, those type of things. And then BMO will just tell you, and even ask, help you to finish that kind of delegation job.
Wow.
Right. Or like, well, eventually we finally back to the original topic. It's about the governance, right?
Yep.
What about, let's say, I'm just thinking about since not everyone cannot be expert on every knowledge or aspects.
Yeah, I always say, like, when people ask about like this altcoin or that altcoin, I say, like, well, if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you're not going to know the name of every defensive lineman on the Chicago
Yeah.
Bears.
Oh,
Like,
exactly.
it's impossible. Like, you're good at what you're good at.
Yeah.
Lean into your
So
strengths.
what about we can talk to AI for the future proposals, right? You can just ask a BMO saying like, okay, with the recent situations in the community, firstly, getting what is the most controversial topic in VeBetter DAO, in the VFAM community? What do you think about any proposal could address that? Or I can directly saying like, okay, I feel, let's say the voting rewards may be too high or too low, or allocation seems like not so fair, or should we remove the minimum allocation for each X2 application, or just have it just all rely on the people's votes? That kind of topic, ask BMO, right? And BMO could come up with all of the scenario based on all of the data happening in the past and give a most comprehensive suggestions. Or you could just write a proposal on your own, but ask BMO saying, okay, help me to refine that. I give you an example. One of the recent proposal, which is good actually. Even I kind of against that, but eventually, I'm just a member. I'm not the
Sure.
dominator, right? So
You're
the
not
proposal get
right.
passed. Even I vote for no. Literally, I vote for no. But proposal passed.
Okay.
However, the thing is, there is something not defined very well in the proposal. Even the proposal get passed, actually the technical team are not able to execute that. Why? Very simple. Very, even I feel a little bit like stupid, but I'm not. No offense. It's just a honest mistake or missing for
Sure.
some things. The proposal is like saying we should give more rewards coming from the treasury to incentivize GM NFT holders in VeBetter DAO, right? Actually, the original idea is we wanted to incentivize whoever upgrade the GM NFT. So if you got the tier one, like a Earth level NFT, you shouldn't get any rewards. But if you upgrade to the next level, you should get rewards. That's the original thinking. But in the proposal, it was not specifically state like this.
Oh.
It just say you need to give 5% of the treasury every week to the GM NFT holders. So
Wow.
so what I'm saying, again, it could be an honest mistake or honest missing, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like you should give everyone free token if you don't do anything. You just vote for once. Then are you able to get the rewards? No, you should be getting anybody upgrade the NFT, right? So the point is, it's a human could make a mistake or human could miss something. And what about we let BMO to either create a proposal for you or refine your proposal, and even we can grant some token from the treasury to say, let's allocate. Let's say right now, every proposal needs to get the first heat check or endorsement with 4 million token, 4 million better tokens endorsed, right? What about we give 2 million tokens in BMO's hand, in his smart contract, and he make a decision. He said, okay, I like this proposal and I support 2 million token first. And then the rest of the community just to take a look like, okay, do you like this? Or, BMO already supported 2. What do you say? Right? You may say like, no, I don't like that. Fine. Or somebody will say, that makes sense. And I fill up another 2.
I couldn't think of a better way to decentralize a project.
Well, yeah.
Because now it's no longer humans bickering, arguing. It's an AI.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Listen, guys,
because
that's genius.
Because AI gonna represent, all of the human decisions or behaviors or data in the past, right? They do better job as a summarized job for and represent the majority of the community, not just one big louder mouse. Let's put it this way, right? Right now in the crypto world, you know that
There's a lot of loud people in crypto.
anybody shouting louder, then they can make at people to follow them.
Yep.
As a influencers or whatever, right?
Yep.
But maybe they're not the expert in terms of how to change the governance or how to improve the governance. I'm not trying to say anybody is bad or no. It's just stating the fact.
It's the business of attention, and everyone serves their purpose.
Yeah, like I said, even I cannot make a decision for any proposal.
Right.
I vote no, but the community passed that.
I think that's awesome, actually.
Yeah. That's real decentralization.
Yep.
I mean, so the ultimate goal is we wanted to make BMO that kind of functional, that kind of even live, to be a real player, to meet the, let's say, gap as a human capability to support the DAO.
Wow.
To make the DAO governance even more profounding and also iterating.
Yeah.
Right. So, well, in terms of AI strategy, again, tooling as a first step, it's the easy part, and we're doing that. And second, as an engine to enable more external applications. And third, that's gonna be a long game. That's gonna be long game. Don't be crypto like, oh, when like,
when WEN when
yeah. it's gonna take years.
Sure.
It's gonna take years. But we wanted to do, like, again, our mentality or methodology is always, do something and then getting quicker and quicker.
Yep.
Actually, there is already we call it the one of the X2N, one of the application, well, not the X2N application. It's kind of like infrastructure application inside the VeBetter DAO is creating. I look at the demo; it's pretty interesting. You can talk to BMO to ask him to do like swap your token, talk to your credit card, something like that.
That's
You
awesome.
basically can. Right now it's still typing. You have to input the words, right? They swap 20 Better token to USDC or USDT, and then top Better token to a credit card, something like that. And then the AI behind that will connecting DAX or the interfaces of the exchanges.
Sure.
or Stella Pay solutions, and help that. So
that's really cool. Or once he kind of evolves to the point, you could say, "Hey, BMO, send this much to this card or this." Wow.
Well, I was showing, like, I was wearing the Meta glass, right? What about with Meta? And just say like, "Hey, Meta, do this, do that," right? And then BMO is really running on your, like, running the arrogance for you.
That's so
in
funny.
the crypto world. So I agree with one thing. Like I think a couple of my friends have been made that. Crypto is designed for AI. Crypto is a money for machines.
Yep.
Right. And they can be running much more efficient way. Let's say how many transactions you can do as a human. One day you do like maybe 10, 20 transactions, most likely.
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
But machine can do like thousands of transactions in 1 second.
1 second, right.
Right.
So, and I think it's really important to say that because, when Donald Trump, a lot of people in crypto hang on to the quote, "Oh, Donald Trump said he wants America to be the crypto capital of the world." Well, he actually said that he wants America to be the crypto and AI capital of the world.
Dude, think about the Davy Sachs.
Yeah.
Why they made a Davy Sachs as a crypto and AI czar for White House?
It says crypto and AI together. Yeah. That's very important.
Yeah, that's important.
That's it.
But eventually, I would say it's really about utilities.
Yeah.
About a value. Right. Like we have been seeing like so many crypto projects with AI concept saying like, oh, we're the AI this, AI that. But okay, dude, what is the product? What is the utility? What is the value?
Right.
Right. So, that's what we're trying to do with AI strategies. And also it's gonna be like, again, focus on the AI applications. Focus on AI can really like what I share.
Mm-hmm.
The BMO can do this and do that. It's a real value there. Or, following the VeChain renaissance, I've been sharing with some of the institutional investors, even including this morning. that guy is super pumped, actually.
Wow, that's awesome.
He's like, oh, I gotta buy some.
I mean, that's, I think, the common denominator is that crypto as a payment settlement layer should be
It's just one of that. I would say just one of.
but it should be to simplify transactions. Like, for instance, when I bought my watch, I bought my watch in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And I went to Jack Sutton's in New Orleans and I said, "Hey, Jack, can I pay you in crypto?"
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh man, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's too complicated and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "You have 30 minutes?" And he was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, he was like, "People always keep asking me to take crypto and they never do." And I said, "You got 30 minutes?" He said, "Sure." I set him up. I set him up. I explained it. I wrote things down. I had a whole notepad.
I did the same thing with Dana 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But
I was just trying to like, wow, you want to work with a crypto? I want to show your devotion or commitment.
yes.
Right. So at least you gotta take some payment from the crypto.
Yep.
Take it or leave it. Well,
I like that.
yeah.
I like that. But yeah, but at the end of the conversation, I could see the light bulb go off in his. I mean, this guy's been running this jewelry store in New Orleans for 40 years.
Yeah.
And this watch was his first crypto payment.
Oh.
Ever in that
Great.
store. And at the end of it, when the money landed, he went,
that's real.
This is genius. this is amazing. Everyone should be doing this." I'm like, "Yes. Yes."
And,
and
also, honestly, well, I cannot disclose too much for now,
Sure.
but we're working on quite a big deal to onboard the traditional enterprise to be involved in the crypto transactions for normal business transactions. Exactly like what you described. But, even going further, I mean, we are kind of victims per se. Every time we try to have overseas payments, the worst transaction, like in terms of transaction costs going through the traditional banking transactions, we have to pay $50,000 for one transaction overseas.
What?
Like from one country to another country. 50,000 of the transaction. No, it's only say it's banking transaction fees.
That's insane.
So we were trying to get actually it's quite a big players are using the specific crypto tokens, but are able to integrate with normal traditional enterprises, and basically is comparing traditional banking fees is like nothing.
Right.
Right. And also it's like instantly going there. Yeah.
Boom.
You don't need to wait like 3 days or 1 week and it just go like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when we're still at the point in crypto where when you say crypto, people think complicated. Normal people, they think it's complicated. They think it's too much to explain. They don't realize that it's coming very soon. It's going to be the easiest way. It's going to be the quickest way, and it's going to happen immediately.
Usually I like to call crypto is not money, but it's actually a smart money.
Yes.
The smart money means in a different angle. One, in terms of the speed, in terms of efficiency, cost effectiveness, it's so much better.
Yeah.
Right. That's a number one. Number two is actually, it can be programmable. Like I shared, with the BMO guy, with the BMO dude, the token in BMO's hand can based on the programmed AI supported, to executing the different type of scenarios, not even getting human interference or human involvement. They can do like this way, right? So, that kind of programmable and fast transaction could generate leading to some new business models. Let's think about that. You're not going to use the traditional banking, whatever Chase or Bank of America, to pay the 30 cents, 50 cents, or $1, that kind of small transaction, like 100 transactions every day. If you do that, you might get banned. right? You might get debanked,
Maybe.
debanked. So, but the crypto can do like this because the transaction fees can be lower, like so much lower.
Yeah.
And they can
Fraction of a
run
penny.
like 100 times a day,
Right.
or 1,000 times a second, whatever, right? Based on the demands. So actually, I have a very interesting theory about that.
Okay.
I learned from one of my mentor and also a respected guy, Shen Bo from Fenbushi Capital.
Okay.
By the way, he also live in Atlanta.
Cool. I think you told me about. Yeah.
So he told me like, you know, the fundamental meaning of crypto is actually could solving. Well, it's a little bit ideal per se, but it's very funny. Think about a GDP. What does GDP means? You know, you provide me something, I pay you $10, and later on you pay me $20 back. Then our GDP is $30, right?
Yeah.
That's a transaction
Sure.
volume. But how many we can do, like enterprise to enterprise, or country to country, or even people to people? Most of the time, especially in the enterprise world, the payment term could be 60 days, could be 30 days. So it's very low frequent, right? And so that's why kind of, you know, lots of money supply needs to be there to support the business growth.
Right.
So if we're two machines or two AIs, I'm a BMO, you're whatever Mo,
Ajo,
Ajo, and we do like $1 for each transaction, 1,000 times a day. We generate the GDP $1,000,
right?
And we don't need you know, like more money supply to be able to support this kind of business expense. I think that could be a very interesting future for the crypto utilities,
Yeah.
or the token utilities. But in general, I would say, you know, the cost, the effective ways, even the marginal effect, marginal cost, and programmable feature, that represent the fundamental future of the crypto utilities. There are multiple different systems and devices, even in the Louis Vuitton store. People feel like that's just selling bags.
Yeah.
Why need so many like systems or devices? I tell you what, every sales associates in Louis Vuitton store has a dedicated iPhone for portable CRM systems. Seriously.
Wow.
I remember we were the first one to work with Salesforce to build up the mobile CRM system. I think it was 2012, something like that.
That's early.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my job. But the funny part is, very interesting part of my job before was connecting the technology to business solutions. Or my favorite is always seeking for new technology, try to be innovative, even sometimes be crazy. So there was a one global CIO seminar we're kind of gathering. I remember maybe it was it was in Madrid. It was in Madrid, and we were proposing the different type of solution, right? Like a go wild solution, and I propose Louis Vuitton should accept the Bitcoin. By then, in it was in 2013. Sure, wow. They didn't take it.
They should have said yes to you.
Yeah, well, if they really take it, you know, that may be a totally different story, right? I might be biggest hero, right? But they couldn't. But since then, I kind of get to know more about Bitcoin, and I hang out the Bitcoin Talk, the org, the old BBS. I think most of the young guys may not even know the BBS platform.
No,
it's that's actually Satoshi Nakamoto posted his first first post about the Bitcoin. It's called BitcoinTalk.org.
Okay.
And every, you know, now we call it OGs, but every crypto dudes, Bitcoin dudes, and also full of Bitcoin maximists in that Bitcoin talk.
It's my favorite people in crypto.
So yeah, and you know more, you learn more, and then I get into the different type of Bitcoin business. By then, it's kind of like side gigs. I'm still doing the normal job, on day job, traveling around. By the way, I took the benefits about that. I travel a lot, especially to Europe, to US when I was in the Louis Vuitton, and also Asia as well. And every new city I go, I basically try to find, oh, is there any Bitcoin meetup over here? Is there any crypto talks over there? Or meeting some professor, like including the guy Dan Benet, is a top cryptography in Stanford.
Okay.
So talking to those kind of guys, get to know more about blockchain technology, cryptographies, all of the different type of algorithms. I remember I spent a few days, a few days, try to understand what is the ECDSA. That's a algorithm to secure the Bitcoin.
Okay.
The encryption model. So yeah, those are really good times. And then in 2015, I feel like, well, firstly, made decent money by then
Sure.
by doing the Bitcoins, mining the Bitcoins. And I got, I think my peak time got 7,000 or 8,000 Bitcoins.
You had
No, but that was 2013 or 15 until 15 or something like that.
wow. But at one point in time, you had 7,000 Bitcoin.
Maybe 6,000, 7,000 Bitcoins.
6,000 Bitcoin.
But I invest a majority into VeChain eventually.
Wow.
Well, I mean, when I get started, that's also a very funny story. Well, bunch of stories actually by the time. In 2014, I almost made a decision like, I gotta get out. Firstly, I don't like mining. Mining is good, but
It's a lot to it.
I get bored. Somehow you just gotta, every 6 months, you gotta iterate the miners. You gotta chase after the big man, those Avalon, to always get the new model of the miners, something like that. And also you gotta look for the place with cheap electricity or convenient places. I don't like that type of the business.
Sure.
You get bored. And I was thinking about like how to build up application on blockchain networks, right? And very, very, very coincidentally, I was leading a global project in Louis Vuitton. It's called Track and Trace.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember the name of the system. It's called Sakura. It's an internal name, but Sakura as a project, basically tracking from the raw materials until the products arrive in the store. The track and trace project. And for sure, now like how VeChain comes out, right? It's basically coming from this project and, try to say, oh, why don't we replace the traditional database by the blockchain? And then it makes perfect sense, right? That was the original idea about the VeChain. And I had a very interesting conversation with Shenbo, my mentor. My really, it's kind of saved me several times and helped me a lot. I really appreciate that. So Shenbo actually brought Vitalik to Shanghai for Ethereum fundraising in 2014-15. And we had a lot of conversation about that. And I feel like Ethereum really did a great job about introducing the virtual machines, the EVM, kind of make more complicated activities are able to, onboard to blockchain.
Right.
Well, if you think about a Bitcoin is just ledger system, right? I usually say Bitcoin in terms of the blockchain technology is kind of like Excel, right? It keep the logs, like make the logs immutable to change.
Right.
But EVM kind of made possible, you can make business activity immutable to change. So it's more like application. That's why from the beginning they said Ethereum is a world computer or giant computer or something like that.
Yes.
Right. So comparing with Bitcoin in terms of technical, it is like that, right? And I had a couple of conversations with Vitalik by then.
I remember you told me a story one of the first times we ever met.
Oh yeah.
You told me a story about you hanging out with Vitalik back in 2015, and I was just like, this is insane.
No, actually, there's also a sad story about that. It's I remember we were like in Chengdu, like brought we brought Vitalik to see a panda. I think it was the first time for him. He was 19 or 20 years old and
Wow.
just tried to, we first time visited China and we show the hospitality. So go to Chengdu, see a panda, have few teas, hot pot, those kind of thing. And Vitalik was saying like, oh, you could check about the Ether. That could be cool. And it was like less than $1 at the time. And I say, no, I like your idea, but there are some bugs you need to fix there. It's a little bit like engineer or mentality.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't buy it
Whoa.
at the time. But
I
next
bought
thing you know,
Ethereum for the first time at like 200 and I felt I was a genius.
yeah. But
It's funny.
But anyway, I mean, we were also talking to Shenbo because let's say Shenbo was a GP, one of the GP, including Vitalik. There are 3 GP for Fenbush Capital when they get started. Shenbo is one, Dr. Xiaofeng, and also today's CEO and chairman of Hashkey,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe not CEO, but chairman or founder of Hashkey Group.
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Xiaofeng, Shenbo, and Vitalik. Those are 3 GP of Fenbush Capital. So I was talking to Shenbo directly about, investment to VeChain back to 2015. And, I basically, we have nothing. We have nothing. I've just, a couple guys, no products, no technology, just some ideas. And so I made a deal with Shenbo, like, I call him sensei, like like a teacher.
Yeah.
Like I call him Shenbo sensei. I just saying, okay, if I build my prototype and also lay down, let's say, land the first business user, then let's negotiate the terms, right? Term sheet about the investment.
Okay.
And then next thing I know, I fly over to Paris, knock every door I know from the people in Louis Vuitton or LVMH, try to see like, can we do something together? Go for a first use case. I don't even want to charge you guys anything, but just give me some real products to explore. And I have my second mentor come up, Philip Fortunato. He was global CEO of Givenchy, and he said yes. And then I basically stays 6 months or 4 months, 4 to 6 months in Paris in a basement. Well, I was not there. Not having enough money, and we got to be very careful about the spending. And also, Bitcoin at the time was not that high. It's like $200, $300, that kind of range.
Wow.
In 2015, 16.
Right. Yep.
And basically just me and a couple of engineers. Engineers take turns. Spend 1 month here, 1 month in Paris. Sometimes we have to go to the warehouse in close by small cities, small towns like middle of nowhere to, going through the business process and system design, how to integrate with blockchain, how to integrate the SAP with blockchain systems, those type of things.
Wow.
So engineers take turns, but I always stay there. So we get the Airbnb in literally like even no window, is a basement. And then later on we deliver the system, and Givenchy like that. And in the next few years, we cover 100% of leather goods for Givenchy on the VeChain traceability system. That's how we get started.
Wow.
And then when I go back to Shenbo, like, okay, I got the contract with Givenchy. It's just a small line of products. I still remember the name of the product. It's called Infinity Bag. Okay. Very nice lady bag. They only produce 1,493 pieces, something like that. And we put chips in and register on the VeChain blockchain. That was the first use case. Wow. Even when I had the first conversation later on with Binance, and I kind of bring the bag. Not only Binance, actually, also Bitunix at that time. I think Bitunix now is gone.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but at that time they were number one. Back to 2017. 18. So I bring the back, literally, I bring the back, showing the use case to everyone when I negotiate about the VeChain listing.
Wow.
Back to that time.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so that was the time, and you have to even Finbush Capital invest a bit, and then following up the future cap invest another couple millions, but still you have to keep spending.
Yeah.
Right, you have to converting like our earnings or mining returns or revenues into VeChain development.
Yeah, of course.
Let's put it this way. And also next thing, we start the ICO, launch the token. And then unfortunately in September 4th, China kind of banned ICO. We launched before that.
Okay.
But in September 4th, China launched saying in 2017, like they banned ICO. So next thing I know, I was like, okay, well, firstly, we never operate in China. We started in Singapore as a VeChain Foundation, right?
Right.
But still, there are lots of China users are investing. So we kind of tell everyone like, okay, you can redeem. It doesn't matter what is the market price. By then, we give you the, let's say, opportunity. You can send the VeChain tokens back, and I send the Ethereum back to you at the same price as the ICO price.
Okay.
And even though the spot price is even drop because of the ICO banning, the market tanked, everybody kind of, tanked, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't mind, if we're going to continue to do that. And I even willing to use my own money to buy back if anybody wants to sell back to me. By the way, there was no exchange also. OK got shut down, Huobi shut down, Binance even just get started. Like they launched the IPO with us like a similar time, and there was no exchange. I remember I was talking to the GSR, the Chris from GSR, like try to get we to get the VeChain listed in the Liquid.io. It's a very small exchange. Yeah, there was crazy time. But meanwhile, I have to launch that kind of buyback program to saying like if you wanted to send the VeChain token back, I'm okay. I don't care if you're a Chinese customer or Chinese investor or not, as long as you send it to, I don't. There was no KYC at the time, right? Basically, we just following the smart contract transactions. So you send the VEN, that was the original token, send the VEN token to a smart contract. We're going to give you back the same price, same address about the Ether. You kind of like represent your original investment.
Right, right.
And I was use all of my money by then, all of my Bitcoin by then to buy back VeChain.
Wow.
Well, nobody wants. And next thing, just
you were fully dedicated early on to making it happen.
My thought is a little bit simple. I create that thing.
Sure.
And whatever the reason, government regulation challenge or whatever, if nobody wants, okay, give it to me then. I will keep running.
Right.
I will keep doing it. Unless let's say I have nothing to do or nothing to, let's say, to feel into VeChain, then I might give up or whatever.
Yeah.
But I gotta fight until the last blood. That just purely that was my thinking. So I said, okay, no, never mind. I use my Ether, I use my Bitcoin to buy back VeChain by then.
Wow.
So, and a few months later, I got the VeChain kind of like up like 300 times in January 2018. 2017, September 4th, China government banned ICO, right?
Okay.
And then January 2018, just a few months later, going through all of the chaotic, darkest time, no exchange listing, everybody kind of figure out what to do. Like I said, Binance just got started, and I was literally flying to Tokyo meet He and CD by then.
Wow.
They don't even have the office in Tokyo even don't have a desk yet. Didn't have a desk yet. We
When you
literally
met CZ, there wasn't a desk at their office.
well, that was 2017, 18.
That's
right?
insane.
And we literally sit on the floor, and with one small chair, and I think it was He's assistant or her colleague kind of went downstairs, pick up some drinks, like a few bottle of tea, and we basically sit on the floor. There was only one chair, and there were some snacks and the tea. We put it on the chair, and I was just sharing the infinity bag to He, like, okay, see, that's our utility,
Wow.
right? And then in January 18, we reached the first all-time high. Basically, I think it's more than 300 times. But if you, let's say, based on the IPO price to the first all-time high in 2018, January 2018, yeah, at least 300 times.
Wow.
Well, some of my friends even like come back to me, hey, Sonny, can I get my VeChain back? I was like, okay, fuck off.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, yeah, that was how I get started. That's what I'm saying. Like during this time, I basically invest, majority of my Bitcoin into VeChain.
Wow.
It's just because like that's my own project, right? When let's say those are things you cannot control, you don't know, and then you just gotta keep it live.
I feel like you took a really big chance on yourself and it worked. I mean, I think that's the lesson there. I mean, like from where I come from, I took a big chance on myself. I worked, and Dana took a big chance.
Dana,
I think that's kind of the
that's
denominator.
why we have a common language,
Right,
right?
right.
You and me and Dana, we have a common language because we're similar type of guy. Like, once we make a decision, we go get it. We go get it.
Yep.
Until the last block job.
Yep.
That's it.
100,000%.
Yeah.
And then anybody out there listening, if you're building a platform, you're building an application, you're building a business, whatever it is, chase your dreams. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Never give up.
Never give up. Yeah. Always keep going, because you never know. It's I don't like, one of the things that frustrates me beyond belief in this life is wasted talent.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing frustrates me more than things being wasted. Yeah. And I think your story is definitely a testament to that.
Every success comes with the devotion, and also sometimes, well, I don't know. Let's say especially in Chinese culture, there is a story, also a saying. It's saying like there was a in the ancient time, for sure. That's like fairy tale or ancient stories, right?
Sure.
There was a battle, like the general wants to win, but you gotta cross a river to fight against the enemies. So the first thing he do after he cross a river with all of the temporary bridges or boats, he burned everything down. That means either I win, either I have no way to go back.
No going back.
So it's like a burn down the ships before you go to the ultimate fight.
Conquer or die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conquer or die. Exactly. Yeah. So I even Dana has that kind of a moment, will have that kind of feeling as well. He shared with me a very interesting story. We talked about that before. When his second kid is kind of going to be delivered, right? And the expected date, Labor Day, is kind of conflict with one of the biggest event by then. And then I was like, that's not gonna happen. Then his crew is thinking about, well, how do we reschedule the event with all of the stuff, right? Because then I say it's not gonna happen. Actually, he doesn't mean like this. He literally asked his wife to do a C-section 2 days or 3 days before the event.
Oh no!
Get the baby out.
Jada would not have that.
No. I don't recommend that. But well, I mean, it's showing. Well, firstly, I respect lady for sure. It's full respect, full support,
of course.
But also, it represents he go all in. Right. He willing to go all in to make the things work.
Yep.
So that's I would say it's small story. It's just reflecting how Dana can turn $2 million investment into a $20 billion global phenomenon.
Wow.
Right. So I would say, yeah, I learned that. And also I have my own story about that, similar like that. And yeah, that's how I get started. That's how I mean, even we kind of get super exciting about all of the things, especially this year, right? VeBetter DAO grows, 1 million user, VWord going to be non-crypto adoption, VeChain Renaissance have another big goal. Actually, we wanted to, our target is to reach to 10 times as today's staking rate as for VeChain.
Gotcha.
So it feels like lots of things to do, lots of exciting to do, but we do have a difficulty times. We have up and downs. VeChain reached to all-time high twice.
Yeah.
In 2017, January 18, we reached the first all-time high, and then 2021,
28 cents.
Yeah, 27 cents.
Yep.
We reached the second all-time high. It's another 277 times higher than the previous lows. So we never give up.
No.
We're going to continue. And
sure.
I think our future is pretty bright.
I think so too.
Given the current market sentiment. Yeah, market sentiment is another thing.
Well, I think, all altcoins kind of shift together, and that there are examples where altcoins will kind of decouple and do their own thing. But I feel a lot of the times they do move together.
Yeah.
But I also feel that there are reasons why we've seen separation with certain coins, and like that they kind of go past all the other ones and kind of get their spot in the top 10 or whatever. Yeah. And I know you're not allowed to talk about price, but I have my reasons to believe why VeChain's about to go on a journey.
I can talk about what happened.
Right.
I cannot talk what will happen.
But I personally believe, I mean, I know as of right now, the news isn't out, but by the time people watch this podcast, they will know that Dana White is an official advisor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's a good place to start.
I don't recall he has done anything like that. I know he joined Meta a couple of months ago as an independent board member, right? And then, he likes what we're doing, and he wants us to succeed. Let's put it this way. So he joined as an official advisor.
Wow.
And also, it's not only the advisor on paper. On Wednesday, you saw that, right? He spent 4 hours, 4 hours, Dana White, 4 hours with us on a small island, pick up the trash, taking the interviews.
Yep.
And also, we're expanding our exposure assets with multiple events, not just UFC and Power Slap, but PBR, Professional Bull Riding.
Yep.
WWE.
Called TKO Holdings.
TKO assets.
Yep.
And more importantly, 4Ocean is just the first example. Dana is using his connection, his networking resources to find the right possible use cases for us. Like 4Ocean is a perfect match.
Yep.
And it's just getting started. And also we're working on another, like I said, another, I would give the credits to Dana as well, working on another business engagement with the VeChain blockchain technology, with business transaction happening with the crypto. Well, we got a thanks to also the Trump made it to the White House, kind of clear up the regulatory world, right? Plus, VET and the VSOR just get MiCA compliance to kind of sweep the barriers as well.
Yep.
So all of the things, what I have to say, Dana is not only the advisor for VeChain on paper, on title, showing on the, put his pretty face on the webpage, something like that.
It's not just that.
No, right. He's like dedicated on that. He give me the advice. He helps to build up the connections, and even he won't. In general, I quote his words. He say, "Sonny, I'm gonna go all in. I like you. You're my guy. You're my brother. I want you to succeed. I go all in to support you."
I love it.
Seriously, I was like with my tears in face. So that's
awesome.
That's
this isn't like this is not an ambassador role. This is
I would call it like a
he's a
brotherhood.
conduit. Like, exactly, brother. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to
And
put
also he had a lot so we can learn. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's a freaking genius in terms of marketer.
Mm-hmm.
But remember that UFC was even banned like 15 years ago in UK. And it was like nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, and nobody was challenging like, oh, it's brutal or blood is not boxing. There's no protection, all of that stuff, right? And then a few weeks ago, I was in the Dana section in the UFC in London. He told me like, I just met the Prime Minister of UK last night. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, just ironically, 15 years ago, they banned us. Now the Prime Minister have to meet me.
Right. Great to meet you, sir.
So, I mean, it's really becomes like biggest influentials, you know, all of the stuff. And I think even, you know, it's let's say like we discussed, you never give up. You know, whatever happened, tough it up.
Yep.
Right. And walk it off and keep going. And you will be there.
Yep.
So I mean that like we said, even for crypto, I know lots of the crypto folks in the world don't have a patience. Right, always think about like
instant gratification.
Yeah, like Wen or Lambo or Moonboy, you know, those type of things. I get that, but eventually, any new technology, including the crypto, it's a marathon. It's a marathon.
Yep.
You don't quit like at a 5 miles away, Mars stone or 10 milestone. You gotta finish that.
Yeah,
you're gonna finish the 42 kilometers.
Yeah, and we talked about this on the boat ride back from the island. You know, when people always say like, AJ, like, how did you learn so much about crypto? How did you get to the position you are in crypto?
You gotta spend time on that.
And I said exactly. I said, well, how many hours per day are you absorbing information?
Oh yeah.
How many hours are you reading? How many hours are you listening? How many hours are you doing technical analysis or, you know, reading news stories or reading books, whatever, however you absorb your information, whatever type of learner you are, lean into your strengths and make it a full-time job. You want to go full-time crypto? Then go full-time crypto.
Yeah.
You need to spend, you know, treat it like a college class. And in this class, if you get an A, you become a millionaire.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that, you know, from, you know, I grew up racing motocross and I broke 28 bones racing dirt bikes.
Right.
And the last one, I broke my left humerus bone. And by the time my fingers started working again, COVID happened. So I already was in crypto for a little while. But when I was at that kind of low point at my life, that's when I decided like, all right, AJ, like, let's do something with this crypto thing. Like, let's figure this thing out. So I used that time I had and completely wholeheartedly focused on crypto.
Oh yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Also, it's quite a comprehensive knowledge you gotta absorb.
Yeah.
Right? It's not only just about, okay, this algorithm, that computer language, or that coding. Also including, you know, even you gotta learn about the tariff situation recently.
Oh yeah.
What is Wall Street saying?
Macro and everything.
Macro, different type of aspects. You just gotta be like a sponge, you know, absorbing the knowledge like a crazy. And you gotta do it a constant way because the world has been changing so fast.
Yeah.
Right. And also, even we said the crypto world is even faster than the traditional world.
You gotta be quick on your feet.
Right?
Yeah.
Doggy years.
Yeah, for sure. So, Sonny, I know we are winding down here a little bit, but I do really want to spend time to drive home, you know, what you want to drive home about VeChain Renaissance and why it's such an important, crucial update to the future of VeChain. This is really what we're talking about here, is the future of this blockchain.
Yeah, well, also there is a funny story behind that.
Let's do it. I like it.
You know, we start to build up or specify the direction of you know, the next evolving target or territory, which is sustainability, right? We were to talk about that.
Yep.
And actually by then, when we working on that, I remember there was a day I was in Vaticano in Rome, and I was thinking about like, what is like, I have that kind of touch because Vaticano or Rome or Florence, those kind of culture. You see the famous painting from Da Vinci, Michelangelo, the Genesis, on the ceiling, the everything is all coming from the Renaissance, the history, right?
Right.
And I learned a lot about the Renaissance itself. I love the history, by the way, and it's a very critical moment for the human kind or human development or for the whole world. And the very funny thing is coming from right after we call it the Dark Death or Black Death moment in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really, how do I say, it's right after that, people not kind of like giving up, like we just talked, right? People not giving up. It's terrible moment. Lots of people die. And, the hygiene situation was crazy in the medieval moment, right? But people never gave up.
Right.
People eventually even, kind of like a rising from ashes.
Like a phoenix.
Yeah, the phoenix, rising from ashes, and then start to create big impacts about the humankind involving the arts, the architecture, the technology, innovation, and humanism, all of the stuff.
Right.
It's all coming from, we call it a splendid Renaissance from Italy, from, that kind of moment. So I was like, we got to do something about that. Or, I feel like we just talked, VeChain has been, even in terms of the price actions, we've been through twice all-time high, right? And we gotta reach the next ones. We gotta figure out the next ones. And sure, every time the bear market, people get frustrated,
toxic,
and toxic, or even we call it a crying year, crying market. Everybody cries. Yeah, lots of people give up. Lots of people left. The market saying no hope for that. But we always come back. Even after, like we just discussed, even after the September 4th of 2019, after ICO get banned, so what? No exchange, so what? No liquidity, so what? We come back, right? I buy back all of the share and make it back. So it is exactly like the feeling of the Renaissance. So that's like the names come from. But also the other point I would say, we're kind of waiting for the regulation clarity as well. Well, lots of people saying like, hey, yeah, Sonny, you should take care of the tokenomics, long time ago, not for now. Or you should, change the VT, VSOR tokenomics. There are lots of feedbacks or discussions. Yeah, I get that. But also, we're really, I have been thinking that for years. Kid you not, I really think about it for years. But on the other hand, I've been very careful about the changes, because that's going to be a most important upgrades in terms of technology, in terms of tokenomics, right? And also, we have been working with regulators, actually not a small country per se, not like, well, no offense, but not like a small country like Malta, those countries. We work with Ireland, the Central Bank of Ireland, for MiCA compliance. We choose the most difficult one because we want to go for mainstream. We want to go for mass adoptions.
Right.
So there is even we kind of the first one to start, but still take like more than a year back and forth, work on that. But also the good part is we learn a lot from the regulatory requirements in terms of, what they want, what kind of the blockchain platform, what kind of tokenomics can really for mass adoptions or can really for mainstreams.
Right.
So in a nutshell, by end of around October, November last year, we get everything clear out. Even we still wait like 4 or 5 months after the official announcement from the Central Bank of Ireland. But basically, we get the regulation requirements sorted out pretty clear.
That's awesome.
That's how we start to design based on the regulatory requirements, start to design the VeChain Renaissance, start to design the upgrades.
And just to drive home to the people at home, I mean, Micah has can make or break a crypto project. Currently my current exchange sponsor is Bitunix. Last year I was with Femex, and my Femex deal was going good until about halfway through the year when Micah came knocking.
Yeah.
And basically at that point in time, could get no more American users. Couldn't. They had the VPN. They had to do all this regulatory tape. And I was like, "Hey guys, this isn't working anymore."
I can explain a little bit more even about the Mika.
Sure.
Well, it's called market in crypto assets.
Yes.
Okay. In short, so it's called MiCA, M-I-C-A, which is, we call it the typical European passport regulation. That means if you get compliance passed in one of the country, then you are able to replicate your business, go your business activities in all of the 27 countries actually in the first scope. And there are more countries in Europe region is coming to on board. So that's what we call European passport regulation.
Right.
So you get one country done, you can cover 27 countries.
Right.
You're able to get all of the exchange list you. You'll get all of your service providers supporting you, like Revolut, the European bank. User in Revolut are able to buy VET directly in the online banking clients.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So basically that kind of building up the infrastructure or sweep any kind of barriers, at least for Europe, right? And also there was another significant meaning. Well, unfortunately, United States a little bit slower than Europe this time, right?
Yeah.
Well, thanks to the last administration.
Thanks a lot, Gary.
True.
Yeah.
But never been too late. US just start the stablecoin regulation. I think is a good one.
Yeah.
And going forward, but also getting MiCA compliance. That means we're ready. Again, like I said, the reason we choose Central Bank of Ireland is not only because we have a big office, big team in Ireland, but also we want to go the most restricted one, most difficult one to, make us ready to go for any regulation challenge. So that means we also could show to the United States, if the regulation is there, we're not stranger.
Right.
We know the drill. Let's get it done again, right? So with that kind of let's say requirement, and also all of our thinking in the past few years, that comes with a design of VeChain Renaissance. And like I said, we wanted to enable the true decentralization. And what does it mean? Think about even Bitcoin. Core Bitcoin is decentralized, but also there is a kind of debate or challenge.
Big debate.
Yeah, like the mining pool control the most of hash power, or miner manufacturers are dominant or monopoly in the market, controlling the future hash power, or electricity consuming a lot. Those kind of debates, right? And if you think about the POS, also the decentralization is a controversial topic as well, because most of the people, if you don't have a technical capability, you have to give away your token, your assets to somebody else to run the validator,
right?
To run the staking for you, right? Because you got to have a technical capability to maintain the node, upgrade the software, and run a server and everything.
And that's why so many projects require such a high amount of tokens to be able to run a validator.
Yeah.
When people are like, "Oh, the barrier is too high," I was like, "Well, there's a reason for that."
And also, eventually, there will be just a few top guys holding large amount of the token and actually making a decision for the entire networks.
Exactly.
Right. And I won't call that as real decentralization. Call me old school. I've been in the crypto space for 12 years.
Yeah.
In my time, decentralization sits in the top of the Bible.
Sure.
to be a crypto guy.
Sure.
Right. So I still have that kind of a, goal, or call it a dream, or
That's the ethos.
yeah, that's
Right.
ethos I wanted to chase after,
Right.
to enable the real decentralization. So what we want to do is actually, um, it's quite a novel design. We enable the new NFT system to represent we call delegator role. So you can stake the VAT into a official smart contract and mint the NFT out. You're holding the NFT, and then you can use the NFT to delegate or connect or lock any validators you want. So that means you don't need to give away your assets to the validator. That's number one. Number two is you still holding your assets. Even the validator rock pulled or get away or offline, you're not gonna lose your assets. The NFT is still in your wallet, right? That's the number one benefit.
Genius.
And number two benefits is your rewards coming from the protocol, like you secure the network, you get the rewards, right? Like most of the POS, your rewards not gonna go through the validator. The usual case is validator going to take the haircut and give you a smaller rewards to you, right? No, in our design, the rewards coming from the protocol of every block will distribute it to the delegator address based on the NFT holding automatically. And there will be two parts. 30% of the rewards go to all of the validator, and 70% goes to all of the delegator, averagely. Then, it's firstly, it's direct rewards coming from the protocol level, no middleman, no haircut.
We like that.
Yeah. Second, it's also a competition. You don't need to be a technical guy to participate in the decentralization, but also you can compete with the validators. So delegator can compete with the validator. Validator also needs to delegator to join you, running as a team to say, okay, join me so I can have much bigger probability to mine the next block so I can get more rewards and you will get your share.
It's a decentralized symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, that means we wanted to enable even non-technical guy can directly participate in the decentralization of the networks. You will create much more attractive rewards to everyone to do that job, whatever is validator job or delegator job, right? Second, eventually, let's say the staking rate is gonna go higher because there is attractive rewards. People can participate in that.
Right.
You don't need to be a validator only. It kind of ease the process to staking the VET, secure the networks. So that's simply to say, right now, the hard cap of the staking is 2.5 billion total. 25 million VAT for each validator and 101 nodes, so 2.5, 25 billion VAT in the staking percentage, right?
Okay.
And based on our prediction and also calculation or simulation, we could reach to 30 billion VAT as a total staking rate. So that means almost like more than 10 times as today's level, right? That's the first. But even when the VET reached to 30 billion staking percentage, the APY to validator could still be up to 10 to 13%. I mean, again, it's estimated. It's estimated prediction. Okay.
That's big.
For sure, you're going to fluctuate based on the market. But based on our simulation, it's not like that. Even the delegator, the smallest delegator with the 10,000 VAT staking, it still can get 2 to 3, even 4% of the APY. And for sure, the higher nodes, like a Mino X node or Mino economic node, could get more than 10 or even, I remember some of the simulation scenarios, it could reach to 14, 15%.
That's very good.
So, well, there were lots of work to do. Yeah. And that's why we also wanted to, let's say, creating or enabling, we call bootstrapping phase. We're not going to let people to wait until end of this year. after the Hayabusa, the second phase of VeChain Renaissance,
Mm.
going to launch, we will start from July 1st. And we will simulate the future Hayabusa. Even still takes time to upgrade, but use VeChain Foundation's assets to incentivize people to, let's say, to start to mint the NFT, simulate the future Hayabusa operation, then you could make the bootstrapping phase smoothly. And it will last 6 months long. And then after the Hayabusa launch by end of the year, then you will be like the real participation.
Gotcha.
I think the 6 months as a preparation phase, it will really smooth the transactions.
Yeah, you don't want it to hit over and kind of want to train people into
well,
it.
the availability, VeChain has been like 100% availability since day one.
Right.
It has been 7 years. We wanted to keep that way.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's about the VeChain Renaissance.
Wow.
Generally speaking, in terms of roadmap, we have we just done the first phase we call Galactica, like a battleship name.
Yep.
The phase 1 Galactica testnet was done before the end of March, actually last week of March, and then we're working towards to the mainnet launch for Galactica before end of June. And meanwhile, the Stargate will, as a platform to manage all of the delegator NFT and everything, will be starting from that time as well. And then the bootstrapping phase, also the real incentivization phase, will start from July 1st until the December.
Okay.
And then September will be Hayabusa. That's a Japanese battleship name. Hayabusa, September will be the testnet for Hayabusa launch, and December will be the mainnet Hayabusa launch.
Gotcha.
And then the real decentralization, the real incentivization model, real tokenomics will starting from Hayabusa launch. But
noted.
Basically, to normal user perspective, starting from July 1st, you may get even higher rewards.
That's what I was going to ask. As a normal user, like what's the easiest way to?
Well, you can, let's say, firstly, you can start to mint the current X node and economy node, because by the launch of Stargate, you can swap the current node to be the future delegate right away.
Gotcha.
Or if you want to wait, that's fine, but you got to plan ahead, because there will be a maturity time to mint a different type of eco node by then.
Okay.
Sure, higher level eco nodes represents higher rewards. That also requires higher maturity time. That's fair.
Exactly.
Right. So yeah, by doing like that, and basically people's operation or user operation, even including the validators, will start from July 1st.
Okay, July 1st.
Yeah, and then that 6 months, make sure nothing runs, crazy, and all of the bugs will be considered fixed. We gotta do several rounds of quality check, security audits, make sure like bug free, and then the December launch will be just like automatic, easy peasy.
Boom.
Like people don't even notice, that kind of way.
I love it.
That's our goal.
Awesome. Well, obviously there's a lot of work to do between now and then, but I think 2025 is still going to be fireworks for VeChain. I think 2025 is going to be fireworks for crypto.
I believe so.
I think a lot of people have lost faith in. I feel like altcoins have been in a have a pump, give it all back, have a pump, give it all back type of mentality. And I want people to understand that it's not like each altcoin's issue. It's the macro. It's completely the macro. But I do feel that we're going through what we're going through now. We're suffering now to benefit later, because once the tariffs are all worked out and once the money printer, yes, the Bitcoin halving cycle has always aligned a year and a half after the halving has aligned with the top of the market.
Yeah.
But that has never happened in a phase of quantitative tightening. It's always been during a phase of quantitative easing. So I do feel that the macro is kind of, the stars are aligning for us to be in a phase 100%. Of quantitative easing by the time we get to the Q3, Q4 this year. Yeah. And when that happens, everything is going to go crazy.
Think about that. Even we follow up the crypto pattern. Okay, the last all-time high of Bitcoin or general the altcoins is actually in April of 2021.
Yes.
And the second all-time high in the November 2021. So that means this year from April to November, that kind of range, even extend a little bit, it's pretty still within the pattern.
And if there was ever a time to have an elongated cycle,
yeah,
given who's in the White House, it would be this cycle.
But
you never know. You never know. You know.
Exactly.
So
And also the others, but also I feel like this time the crypto market will have a change, is more focused on the utility.
yes.
Focus on the value creation, will drive the real money goes into supporting this type of the project.
Yep.
Other than just, speculation or
the real
pumps and dumps
investor. Wall Street has been getting more and more and more involved. The deep pocket whale investors from Wall Street are looking at crypto, and they're not looking at meme coins. They want to know projects that have a price history.
Yeah.
They want to see, well, what did it do?
Like I shared with you before, I had well, thanks to BCG, we had a meeting with S&P.
Okay.
S&P like index company, right? For the traditional stock market.
Wow.
And the CEO of S&P was there. And we have a couple hours workshop, discussion, and everything. So I asked, after the workshop, I asked a question to the CEO. I say, okay, I'm not talking about a company. I'm just talking about your personal investment. If you want to go to crypto, what kind of factors or metrics you want to look for any kind of portfolio you want to invest? And he start with Bitcoin. He say, oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna start to look at the Bitcoin because of all of the ETF. That's fair enough, right?
Of course.
No question about that. And then he said, well, I'm not gonna only stays only for Bitcoin. I'm gonna look at the other potentials. So basically it's like, okay, I can, as a traditional investor, I will invest gold, but also I will look at the NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ represents high technology portfolio. That means high potential growth, right? So it's just about how to balance your portfolios.
Right.
So he said, yeah, I'm going to look at the other portfolios. And so I asked, like, okay, what kind of the metrics or fundamentals you're looking at? And the first thing he mentioned is, oh, I got to see who is the longest time survivor. I was like, what do you mean? I even shared the typical phenomenon in crypto. I say, people in crypto kind of only look after the new projects or new coins.
It's not it.
Or new concepts.
It's not the way.
He said, that's not right.
Yes.
Because that the new projects, and also thanks to the let's say the crypto typical configurations, you don't need to prove anything. You kind of go out there already.
Yep.
Right. People can start to trade, but you're not prove yourself yet.
Yep.
And they more like he told me, like, they wanted to look at the historical record. Like, have you proved you have a capability to deliver? You have your devotion to build long term, and even you can prove you can survive even for the worst time.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, you got to buy VeChain, right? Because we fit all of your requirements, right?
And, it's funny that, sometimes people on crypto Twitter like to call last cycle's coins the dinosaur coins. Well, let's talk about the dinosaur coins.
Yeah,
you can't say this, but I can. Look at XRP, VeChain, Algorand, and HBAR. In the pump that we had November, December 2024, those 4 coins were all in the top 10 performers.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
That's it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
And also
crazy.
There were many projects, like I remember like back to 2017, we got a bunch of competitors, and 21 changed another competitors, and then now it's a new competitors again, right? It's like I think it's a survivor's game.
Yep.
Make sure you keep building what you do, and make sure you can survive through. And you will be in the front row to see the sunrise.
It's a marathon, like you said.
It's a marathon.
It is a marathon. Well, Sonny, this experience has been amazing.
It is.
I appreciate your time. Good friend of mine. And we're doing 3 more of these long form podcasts this year. And that
we didn't even have a time to mention about the Tesla
well,
giveaway.
We saved it to the end.
We'll save
it to the end.
All right.
And maybe we'll make a clip. We'll put it in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
sure.
I'll make a quick clip and put it in.
That
So
would be
basically,
easier.
Sonny and I are doing 4 long form podcasts this year. And for each long form podcast we do, we're teaming up and giving away a brand new Tesla. The giveaway is the first giveaway is already open. Click the link down below in the description. This giveaway is for a brand new Tesla Model 3. Also, 10 winners will win a VeChain merch pack.
Please be an EVN user after you got your Tesla.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And 10 people will win a VeChain merch pack, and 5 people will also win $200 in VeChain. So there will be 16 winners, and one of the 16 is the grand prize winner. And we're doing that 4 times this year for each podcast we do to promote. We are giving away a brand new Tesla, and that is all from Uncle Sonny. And Uncle Dana supports Uncle Sonny's decisions.
Yeah, Uncle Dana said on Wednesday, "Oh, free Tesla. That's
free
great.
Teslas."
Free Teslas.
Free Teslas.
You down for one more?
But
all right, man.
Well, I appreciate your time, Sonny, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate your friendship.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate all the good times and looking forward to more of them.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Everybody smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Have a safe rest of your day. Sign up for that giveaway. Get rich or get wrecked.
Yeah.
Peace
out.